there are this time, one of the popular companies from our portfolio is Interview Street, right? So basically, it was like 2009, and they've been working with us for about 4 months or so, and I was visiting Chennai, where they were based initially. So I basically was staying at one of the founders' place, and what happened was these guys were like coding till late night, and I woke up early, and the mom and dad, Vivek's mom and dad, gave me coffee, and then like all parents, they were slightly worried that their kids had left jobs at Amazon and IBM to do this startup which they don't really understand. So they asked me this question, what do you think is really happening? Do you think they're going to succeed, or is it the right thing, right? So what had happened was, like, one day before Vivek was with me, we were attending a Thai dinner, and I saw him spending 10 minutes with Sanjeev Bikhchandani, right? So Interview Street and Naukri are really in the same domain largely, right? And I knew that he probably has met 10 people in that domain, in the last 6 months. So the trend was that basically when you become a CEO of a new company, it doesn't matter how much experience or inexperience you are, as a CEO of the company, you will basically end up dealing with CEOs like decision makers for the other companies in that particular domain, right? So what I was telling them was, let's think about next two years, right? Fast forward, there are two outcomes possible. One is the company is reasonably successful, which is the outcome which turned out to be true, right? Two, the company is not successful and they have to shut down. And I said, if that happens, I am sure that, like, this guy would know at least 100 decision makers in his own domain, right? And if we were to find a job basically from Sanjeev Bikhchandani to any other guy, they will be more than happy to hire this guy who ran a recruitment domain company for 2 years, and these are the guys who can actually see the learning which these guys gained, and basically they will be any day happy to get him on board, in a manner basically where he can be a senior management person, right? Where his salary and responsibility will both be like way better than what he would have drawn, right? And by the way, I am myself an example of that, right? So when I started Madhouse, I was a senior software engineer in working in US, 6-year experience, right? I became CEO, right? I mean, not because I had any experience, but that, like, I was the founder, right? So basically, and because of that, I ended up working with companies in the media, retail, entertainment domain. So what happened was, basically, we got acquired by 70mm, and I became vice president of strategy. No MBA, right? No experience of corporates, nothing at all. I was the number 3 guy in the company, and my salary was about 26 to 30 lakhs, which I think personally was probably higher than any of my classmates who worked in the who were like working in India so far, right? And during those days, I had offers to become president of different divisions from 2 of the most prominent media companies in India, right? Both of them, I had no resume. Both of them found me through my blog, through my LinkedIn or whatever else, and made an offer to join. I mean, that's a separate thing. I did not take that offer, and I ended up doing Morpheus, right? So basically, I had written a blog post about this experience where I said entrepreneurship is risk free. Heads you win, tails you don't lose much. Like my co-founder at Morpheus, at Madhouse, Ankur, like he was a senior project manager before, and he worked with 1.5 years. After Madhouse, he became CTO of Travel Guru, which was a very well-known travel company, and he's still in that state, right? So similarly, actually, we've had a bunch of companies who have not worked out, like, or the founders gave up, and all of these guys are currently working in much better positions than they would have done if they had stayed in their thing. And like some of them do want to come back to the startup world, but basically I can see that they are doing very well. They are actually handling roles of very high responsibility and everything else. Like there is no problem. In fact, if you talk about Morpheus, like if you join, let's say, a batch, hypothetical situation, you join a batch, you try for 1 year, the company doesn't work out, you still want to stay in the startup world, and if you're a good guy, there will be 10 companies from our portfolio who would all want you to come and join them and basically play like an early employee or a founder role and give you a fantastic ESOP and salary option, right? And there will be another 20 companies outside Morpheus which will be happy to take you. So basically, it is literally a risk-free option. there is no way you can go wrong with this. Basically, if you will learn so much that, you know, obviously if you go back to a corporate world, you know, TCS or all these companies, they have no value which they will place on this kind of experience. But there are enough companies in India and abroad today who are happy to hire, you know, people with startup backgrounds.